Hey, it's me, GV, and welcome to the final level of Chapter 3 for the Rise of the Golden Idol. This is a guide, ladies and gentlemen. Hope my other guides have been helping you. Okay, so this one is called Chapter 3, The Machine, The Procedure. And this one was confusing for a multitude of reasons. A little bit more difficult than the other two levels, without a doubt. So let's start off with names here. Well, we know Tessa Navari from previous levels. That one's easy. We know Tim Spender from previous levels. That one's easy. We know Marie Westlake from previous levels. That one's easy. And then these people were a little more difficult here. So if we travel to this other room, we know that this cop refers to this guy, or security guard refers to this guy as Bruce. And then also, if we take a look at this bloodied security badge, it says Meissen. So we know this guy is Bruce Meissen because the other guy has Billy Greer on him on his security badge. So that's easy. Then everybody has pictures of people that are important to them, right? So this guy has a funeral picture for Neil Remington and refers to him as Dad. So we know that this guy is named Remington as his last name. Also, these two people have letters dedicated to their last name. So we know that her last name is Hall. And then if we take a look over here, we know that her last name is Robinson. So we have all the names except for their first names. Now, I actually don't know this. I don't know why this is the case. I'm assuming there's some piece of evidence that I missed somewhere, but I think I literally just placed them in. I think I placed this one correct, and then these two were switched for me, and I literally just switched them, and then it worked. So I still do not know why this is Alex, this is Charlie, and this is Sam. I tried to figure it out based on the ledger here, based on the amount of time they've been here, which still to me sounds like that would be the answer because that information didn't come into play anywhere else. So, like, it's weird because Charlie, which sounds like a dude, so that was a little confusing. Charlie's been here for like a year. He's been here for a day. Sam's been here for like half a year. So I thought, okay, well, I guess if she wrote me, then Sam, then Alex, then Charlie, you just go by the amount of time that they've been here. But that doesn't check out as far as I can tell. So I do not know why this is Sam, this is Charlie, this is Alex. There must be some piece of information somewhere that I missed about that. And if you know that, let me know in the comments. Please and thank you. But anyways, yeah, so that's all of the people there as far as names go. Now, symbols were a little more confusing. These two were easy because if we go into this room, we can see that we have sigils on the wall here, 1 and 2, for like removing and replenishing. And basically, if we take a look at their like schedule here, it says phase 1 is elimination, phase 2 is replenishment, right? So then if we take a look at the wall, phase 1, phase 2. So we know that that's eliminate and replenish. Pretty easy. Now, as far as the hatred and the empathy goes, that was a little more challenging. I forget exactly where those two words are listed. I really got confused because this right here, I really thought this meant enlightenment, but enlightenment's kind of separate. So that was very, very confusing. I think what gave it away to me was the phone recordings because they say the person I have in mind is practically consumed with hatred. So I was like, okay, so the bad sigil here is hatred. And then I think on her, she says something here about empathy. Where is empathy written down? I'm forgetting at the moment. But yeah, it's maybe I just figured it out because empathy is basically the opposite of hatred, you know, empathizing with people and feeling good. It was very confusing because there's a lot of like good words and bad words, so it was really confusing to me. But I think eventually I just figured out, okay, well, empathy is kind of the opposite of hatred, and everything has opposites. That's kind of the theme of this particular level. So, or maybe it's here actually? Yeah. It is here. Okay, so you can see empathy is on the opposite of hatred. So if you know the first one is hatred, you know the next one is empathy. So yeah, a little confusing on that one because there were so many like red herrings, but there you go. And then if we take a look at the events, we have Tessa Navari and some of her dedicants were at the Harmony Foundation for a procedure. And we know dedicants because that's what they're referred to in the letter. The aim was to first eliminate hatred, because this first phase is eliminate, and we know it's hatred from this thing, and then replenish empathy, resulting in enlightenment, because enlightenment is referenced everywhere. However, they were interrupted by people who wanted to seize everything at the Harmony Foundation. That's obvious because, you know, the Tim Spender and whoever, they've been building up towards seizing this place. In the large rooms downstairs, Bruce Myson grabbed Sam Robinson. This was confusing, but he basically says, I guess that freak has a thing from his daisy chain. And then if we take a look at her head, she's got a chain of daisies on her head. So that was super confusing, but because, like, what was his motive? But yeah, he grabbed her. And then in response, Alex Remington stabbed Bruce Myson with a crystal, which we can see over here that there is a crystal on the ground, a bloody crystal. I picked that up like immediately. In response, Alex, stabbed him with a crystal. And then because of this, Billy Greer, the other security guard, shot Alex Remington with a taser. And that's obvious because Billy Greer's taser does not have ammo in it. You know, if we take a look over here, his taser's been used. If we look at this guy's taser, it still has charges, little green charges. This guy fired his taser. So we know that, the taser was used. And then it was him. So there's the events. And then the motive I got pretty easily. First try, actually, which I felt good about. Because I noticed, there was a theme with the comet or the meteor or whatever. And I was like, what's going on with this meteor? And I'm still kind of confused by this because, Tessa has a photograph of her mentor with a meteor, right? And then I think Sam has a picture because everybody needs a picture with somebody they love and what they mean to them for the process, right? So Sam has a picture of a meteor and then her uncle who she loves. And then Alex has a picture of his dad, which looks a lot like the mentor. So I was like, okay, well, obviously the meteor's connected, and I feel like, it's his dad too. So I'm still kind of confused what happened here. What I'm assuming is, like, Alex's dad was Tessa's mentor, and then somehow he was also the uncle of Sam, and because of that, Sam and Alex are related, and then he, defended her, because if we take a look at his funeral note, he says the importance of standing up for family. So when the security guard grabbed Sam, he was like, no, I have to stand up for her. So I don't know exactly how all three of these connected. I just kind of, figured out that they were connected. But there you go. That is chapter 3, level 3. And then we just have the final big stories. So, or big puzzles, whatever. So, as far as the hierarchy goes, this one was kind of easy, a little tricky. You have to, put certain things together. Board president, we know, is this guy, Nathan Hoyle, or whatever, because, he's just referred to as the president. Tim Spender's referred to as the head of speculative investment multiple times. So if you're kind of paying attention, you know that he's the investment guy. Then, the big clue here, which, if we can go to the main sort of level selection here. The big clue for this is that Eugene is promoted here. So this is kind of the thing that kind of throws you off, is that you would think that he would be down here, but no, he gets promoted to extra-physical laboratory lead. And then he's talking to Tessa here. He's saying, like, because he got influenced by the Harmony Foundation. So you can tell that he wanted to hire Tessa back as an independent consultant because the emotion studies under Tessa was terminated. So that was terminated, and then he hired his friend Tessa back to be like, the independent consultant. Then you can kind of tell that Jack is lower down because if you look at this here, he kind of says like, oh, I'm lower down in the company. So we know that he's just a research engineer, and then also Marie was demoted to research assistant. And then if you're paying attention, you know that Auriel Toussaint was like a Lemurian historian, so he's obviously the history consultant. So that is the hierarchy of the company there. And then we have the big two stories. So with funding from the OPIC Corporation, Tessa Navari ran the Harmony Foundation. They used stolen parts to build an artifact, believing it could take hatred and then give empathy. And in doing so, would help people reach enlightenment. However, it actually did nothing because I think she made a wrong golden idol, like the statue didn't work. Due to Tessa Navari's overspending, the Harmony Foundation building was repossessed. Auriel Toussaint realized the artifact might work if it were rebuilt. Marie Westlake was in charge of its reconstruction, but delayed testing. Despite this, Eugene Marmot activated the new device, so he was denied lab access. And that's all pretty much like, if you're going through, you understand this. But it was tricky because there's so many words that it's easy to get kind of confused because there's not too much context clues. There's not too many context clues in like all, how all these words are set up. So little tricky there, but yeah. And then finally, story number 2. After learning about Harmony Foundation, Eugene Marmot believed he had been punished because the rebuilt artifact had been set to give hatred. However, it was actually set to take heat, which froze a bird bath. So this was super duper confusing because you have to be paying attention to how the dials are set and like what each, golden idol thing does. Really confusing, as well as like different things like why people keep saying it's cold in the lab and also why, the bird bath was frozen. Really, really confusing and tricky, but froze the bird bath. During a board inspection, Eugene Marmot tried to set it to take hatred, but actually set it to give heat, which started a fire. And that's what he was set on fire. And I think the big hint there is like, Jack's notes or Oriel Toussaint's notes do say like, I think it's Oriel talking about Tessa. He's saying like she's wrong about what the buttons do, basically. So he, said it to something by accident. Nathan Hoyle was impressed by Eugene Marmot's discovery and rewarded him with the promotion, which is obviously when he's in the office and Westlake is crossed out because he took her job. So very tricky just based on how many like little slots there are for words here at the end, really difficult because there's so much going on. But other than that, a pretty doable chapter, just mainly putting all this stuff together was kind of tricky. So hope that guide helped. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in chapter 4. Bye-bye.